Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our last webinar of our October edition of the Teaching Capacity Building Program. My name is Leonora Salas. I'm the Director of Studies at Icana Binational Center in Cordoba, Argentina. For those who are joining us today for the first time, let me explain that this program consists of a series of webinars that are delivered by English language teaching specialists who are all alumni of U.S. Embassy-sponsored programs. They are all kindly sharing their expertise and best practices during these extraordinary times of remote teaching and learning. We have been able to organize these webinars with the support of the U.S. Embassy, who are generously helping with the delivery and the organization of the program. We do hope that these presentations will help you in your current teaching practice, whether it is virtual or in person. Our deepest thanks to all the alumni presenters and again to the U.S. Embassy. Please type all your questions in the question and answer section at the bottom of the screen. The presenter will answer your questions when he finishes. Now I would like to introduce our presenter for today. Those of you who have been joining us in previous webinars know him. He is Gonzalo Diaz. This is his third webinar. And next week, he will be presenting again. And our last webinar of November will also be hosted by him. Gonzalo graduated as a teacher of English as a foreign language from Universidad Nacional de Tucumán. He has worked in public schools and a teacher training college, and he has developed his own private language studio, Hands-on English Studio. So far, he has been involved in different global projects: SOS for Love project by I Love Dyslexia, Global Connect by Happy World Foundation, and the School of Tomorrow by What If Curiosity-Based Learning. With his motto, Teachers Never Stop Learning, he has participated in a wide array of professional development opportunities, many by the Department of State of the United States. Among those, he highlights having been chosen for the Advanced Certificate in English program from Oregon University, specializing in language assessment, thanks to the U.S. Embassy in Argentina. This opportunity has offered him a wider and deeper view on English language teaching and bolstered his reflection on what the 21st century demands from us educators. And this has encouraged him to keep himself proactive and open to share what has been learned with his colleagues. Thank you, Gonzalo, for sharing your expertise again. Over to you.
Thanks, Leonora. I'm really glad to have you all here. I'm really glad that we can share some time together. We know we had a very stressful year. We are here in Argentina, we are finishing the year, and we are also about to finish the school year. But teachers from some other countries, such as the ones I have seen on the chat, that we have people from so many places. I'm so glad to have you all here. And okay, you're probably starting the school year, you're in the middle of it. Well, options are many, okay? But I'm really glad that we can share some time together, okay? So I'm going to share what we are going to talk about today. Well, today, as we have been sharing the couple of weeks ago. Well, I have prepared 3 webinars that are called Let's Spice Up Our Classes. The first one was about songs in ELT. Okay, remember that Rita Martin gave us lots of activities to work with regarding phonological aspects of the language. And I had tried to put together some activities to work with songs and related to those topics too. Okay, so don't forget to go and check them on the ICANA YouTube channel. They are great. And so today we're going to try to spice up our classes, but this time we're going to think of dramatization tools, okay? So what's that? And well, first of all, here in Argentina, it's 2:30 in the afternoon. So some of us might be a little bit tired, a little bit feeling drowsy because of we just had lunch. So I'm going to invite you to have a cup of coffee with me. And I hope that we can enjoy it together this time, okay? So let's see the contents we're going to see today. Okay, so what's in a cup of coffee? We're going to talk a little bit about what's in a cup of coffee, but what's in a class language, as and use a metaphor for that. Okay, cup of coffee. To be or not to be involved, that's the question regarding dramatization. Do we get involved or not? Okay, so what makes it more palatable? What makes coffee more palatable? Let's think a little bit about that. But let's think what makes our classes more palatable. Okay, we have been in presence of great teachers, great instructors who have shared great ideas, insights, and strategies to spice up our classes too. So I hope that I can help you with what we're going to share today. And then blends and flavors for everyone, because we can all have different tastes. And I hope that you enjoy this time together and enjoy the blends and flavors that you can find in dramatization. So what comes to your mind with this image? What comes to your mind with it? Sorry. Oops. Sorry. What comes to your mind with this image? I hope that you are writing on the chat. I'll try to take a look at what you're writing. Oops. Somebody said chit chat. Yeah, great. Okay. What else? What else comes to mind? Sharing. Yes, I like that. Smell of coffee. Nice sharings, nice moments. Reflection. Friends. Wow. I love what you're sharing. I love what you're sharing. Yeah, all that has to do with what we have today. Okay, a cozy cup of coffee. A nice place with friends. A nice place to relax. Okay. Well, so those are things that come to your mind when you have an image of a cup of coffee like this one in front of you. And it's been a long time. For instance, Argentina has been in lockdown like for 7, 8 months. I don't know, I have lost the count. And probably not all of us have had the chance to go and meet a friend at a cafe and share some time. But isn't it nice when we have a good friend and we just share a cup of coffee? Well, also that something that comes to my mind with a cup of coffee is energy. It's waking up, something that can makes us feel a little bit brighter when we're kind of drowsy. Well, so I hope that you're having your coffee right now, your green tea or whatever you chai, if you like that. And let's see how we can bring that energy of a cup of coffee. Let's see how we can bring that coziness. How can we feel comfortable in the classroom with dramatization? So thinking of a language class and comparing it to a cup of coffee. It's just a cup of coffee, it's just water and coffee powder. We just add some coffee powder and mix some water and that's all? Some hot water and that's all? Is that a cup of coffee? Is it just vocabulary plus structures? We just throw in a list of vocabulary and we just pick a couple of structures, we put them into a class and we have a language class. Is that all? Well, I believe it's not. I believe it's not all. Okay, I believe that we need something else in class. So what else is it needed? What else does it take to what else does it take for language to hold on? Okay, what else does it take to make this class, the class that I have with my students, enjoyable, memorable, even effective? Okay, we all want that in our class. Okay, we all want that when we meet our students. Okay, so how can we help our students experience the language and learn? Not only just, we sometimes we ask our students to somehow swallow lists of vocabulary just pick some instructions, keep them buried in their mind, and learn things by heart. There must be some other way. Okay, and I hope that this tool that we're going to talk about today, that is dramatization, might help us spice up our classes, spice up ourselves in the sense that try to be a little bit more awake and energetic and interested in what's happening in the classroom. Okay, even on online classrooms. Okay, like we have today. Well, this teacher, you have met him in all my webinars. I always start talking about him because I have a lot of, I like him a lot. He's a friend of mine. And well, we met 2 years ago. Since then, we've been working together. He's Matt Murray. He has a PhD on education from the Columbia University. He's the author of the book of What If. Okay. And he prompted lots of what if questions. So we have shared many of them. Okay, so you can see here he's having mate, our traditional drink here in Argentina. And well, he prompted a question once that I loved, and I think I shared it in the previous webinar, but I think that it can help us a lot. What if I combine my curiosity for with my passion for to find a solution to? What if I combine my curiosity for new trends in education, my curiosity for new ways to get to our students, with my passion for, I don't know, music, songs, theater, gymnastics, knitting, I don't know, any passion that we might have, to find a solution to the situation that we are living nowadays, okay? We are not connected to our students. We cannot see face to face. Some, I hope that some might in some sort of blended learning, but most of us here, at least in Argentina, we cannot work face to face. We've been working online. So I hope that this tool, these dramatization aspects we're going to discuss today and tools might help us be connected to our students. Because what if we combine this curiosity that we have with a passion for something that we would like to share with our students, to find a solution to demotivated students, to students who are dropping out of the class and we cannot get to reach them again. So why can we, I don't know, lure them back? Okay, and I hope that with this tool we can. And you see coffee is present there. So questions to think of. What's draining you and what's filling you up? What's draining you? What's draining your energy out of you? What's filling you up? What's making you feel better? Because I am totally convinced that happy teachers create happy classrooms. And you know, there's this video that I hope that you can check it on YouTube. It's called What If Life Didn't Suck by Bjorn Cooley. And he's an entrepreneur and he worked with Matt Murray and What If conference. And he said, what if life didn't suck? Because, you know, we had lots of disasters in our world. And well, nowadays we had to face a pandemic situation. But there are some devices in this world that are self-fueling, that are self-repairing, that they have the ability to manufacture new things. They have a great learning storage. They have amazing problem-solving capacity. They are continually adaptive. They can work collaboratively. They are collaborative. They are self-replicating, and they are even biodegradable. You know what these devices are? These are human beings. And we have billions in this world. And if we can decide, that's what Bjorn Cooley says, if we all come up with an agreement and we decide to make something better, we can do it. Okay, and we as teachers, we have been coming to agreements with our, I don't know, headmasters, with our students, with the family of our students, because we have all these capacities, okay, self-healing, self-repairing, manufacturing ability, learning storage, problem-solving ability, continually adaptive, collaborative skills, self-replicating ability, and we are biodegradable too when the time comes, okay? So we have all those abilities, and I hope that we can all acknowledge that in ourselves, okay? So we can make things better, and we've been working on that this year as crazy, and we have got lots of our students step up and work a little bit more, and some others not the same. So I hope that we can lure them back into working, into learning, into sharing. some words to differentiate, okay? Because it's important. When we think of dramatization, we're already thinking of our, oh no, final of the year concert, okay? But it's not that. It's not. Dramatization has nothing to do with a concert, okay? It can help, but it's not that, okay? Dramatization is something different, okay? So some words to differentiate, okay? Theater, that is the actual production of a play on stage, okay? It requires stage, actors, background, costumes, lighting, sound effects, and most importantly, an audience, okay? We need an audience to have theater, okay? Nowadays might be an online audience, but it's an audience, okay? Then another word, drama. Drama refers to the script of a play, or in Greek, it means to do, to act, okay? So there are some activities that have to do with doing, okay, with acting, but it's not dramatization in the classroom, okay? So what is dramatization techniques? It's a method, it's a teaching method or a learning method, which involves verbal, non-verbal communication that are student-centered and that will arouse the interest of the learners, okay? So by dramatization techniques or tools or activities, we want our students to communicate, okay? We want them to communicate, okay? That's something central, that's vital in all our language classes. Okay, so it's not the same theater, drama, and dramatization, okay? A concert at the end of the year doesn't mean that students have communicated, okay? It just means that they have probably learned a script, okay? And they can act out that script. That's really good, that's fantastic, that's beautiful, okay? But dramatization techniques is something different. Even we don't need an audience for dramatization technique, okay? That's important, okay? It can be only us, the students and the teacher in the class, okay? So let's meet our team. Who is in this team? Okay, who are the who play part in the backbone of this process? First of all, we have the pyramid of learning. Okay, when we talk about retention rates, okay, we have some which are called passive teaching methods, when you have lectures, reading, audiovisual, and demonstration. Those are called passive teaching methods. Students are passive in those processes, okay? And when we use that in the class, students just retain 5% if they have a lecture, 10% if they are reading, 20% if they have some sort of audio visual aid, or if they had to demonstrate something, just 30%. But we have participatory teaching methods in which students participate and act, well, they are the center. We have discussion groups with 50% of retention rate. We have practice by doing, 75% of retention rate. And then when they teach others, 90%. Well, dramatization in this part of the pyramid, in the participatory teaching methods, okay? Practice by doing, and also sometimes teaching others, and sometimes discussion, okay? So all those activities really rocket up the retention rate. So we had to focus on student-centered, performance-focused, hands-on activities for this sort of dramatization tools. Then we have something that is really important, at least for me. It's connection-based learning. Okay, nobody learns alone. Nobody learns alone. And Sean Robinson, a Canadian teacher, came up a few years ago with this framework, okay, that is called connection-based learning. Something that has to do with something that's just happening right now, okay? This book, Connection-Based Learning, is for free on Amazon Kindle. It's for free, so if you want to download it, the ebook, not the paperback, but the ebook format is up to today or up to tomorrow, it's for free because this teacher, the author, Sean Robinson, is launching soon the second book that's called The Connection Lens. So he sent me a message and he told me it's for free because we have met, we have talked, and I have worked with this teacher too. And so if you can download it, you will learn lots of amazing things about education nowadays. Okay, so communication and SWOT has to do with this framework. And what do we want our students to do, to be able to do with the language and to communicate with the language? And then we have part of this framework or part of this team that we have, this backbone, is what we are being challenged this year or these last few years. We have been challenged with thinking of education a different way. We have been challenged to think of global education. And the 4 C's, creativity, communication, collaboration, and critical thinking, okay? All those aspects are somehow tackled in dramatization tools. Okay. So remember that you can download the handout of this webinar whenever you want to. It's on the chat room on YouTube and here, I'm sure it is. So here, what have I brought you? I have always tried to bring you some teachers that I admire and that I've been in contact with. So first of all, I would like to share with you Trevor Buffon, a Spanish language teacher in the United States. He has a PhD, but he can also bust a move, okay? He's great dancing, so he created a whole movement in his class. He's been recording lots of videos with his students dancing because he has tried to break down that barrier that we have with between teachers and students. And this has to do with dramatization too, okay? Getting closer to the student, getting involved, okay? It's not only, okay, you students do this, you students do that. Let's get involved too, okay? And he decided to go that way, starting with his passion for dance, okay? And then he also worked with students. He has lots of students from different backgrounds. So they created together plays and they have even performed in theater and asked students, and he got students to write scripts, okay? That has to do with theater, not dramatization, but I mean, he broke those barriers down, okay? So you can check him out on the internet and see the great things that he has done so far, okay? Then like a couple of weeks ago, I heard about this teacher and I felt inspired. And I said, I had to share his profile. I had to share with the teachers in the webinar about him because this also has to do with dramatization. In what sense? In the sense that we had to get something fun for our students. And this is Olasunkami Samuel Opifa. Okay, Olasunkami Samuel Opifa from Nigeria. He's a teacher of English as a foreign language, like we are, okay? And he's been shortlisted for the top 10 finalists in the Global Teacher Prize, okay? This prize that gives away $1 million for teachers to carry on projects. He's been shortlisted among the top 10, okay? He's in Nigeria. He's in a school where most of the students will drop out school just after they began the year. But he has used edutainment, something that he has called it that way, okay? It's some sort of education mixed with entertainment, and he has come up with this idea of using fun-based learning, okay? You can see him in the picture in the center. He's the one with the blue shirt. Okay, he has asked his students to come to the front, to act out, to entertain. So he used fun-based learning, he used online videos, and he used the flipped classroom model because nowadays he doesn't have always the chance to be in front of the students. So he used this sort of flipped classroom model. Okay, so, and he has been able to get to know his students, to get to know the culture of his students, and incorporate raps, songs, and local dances connected with ELT. Okay, he even asked students to use rap songs to learn grammar rules, phonological rules. So he has been involved. And so why do I bring these teachers to the webinar? Because I think that when we use songs, dramatization, literature, all these activities that people have been sharing in the webinar so far, we are trying to bring something fun for the students, but also to break the barrier that we have between teachers and students, even on an online context, okay? Because we want them to get involved. If they are involved, they will learn. We can learn more, okay? So bringing you these two role models for all of us, Trevor Buffon and Olasunkami Samuel Opifa, okay? Well, what's involved in a dramatic activity? Here you have lots of words, lots of words. I'll try to break it down, break it up for you, okay? So what do we need in a dramatic activity? It's important to think of a context, okay? We need a setting. We need to be somewhere, at some place, at some moment, okay? We need to give that to students. We need a topic. We need participants. But what we most need is an information gap, okay? It's not the same acting out as in the dramatic activity, okay? Acting out is just acting something, okay? Performing. But when we have an information gap, something that students or participants don't know, there we have a dramatization activity, because there we have something that somebody has to find out, okay? We have tension, and we need that for a dramatization activity. Imagine we had to leave the comfort zone. Imagine we just asked the students, okay, you're going to role play the first page of our course book, and students already have it there. And they have already read it like 10 times, so they know what they are supposed to do. But that is just acting out, okay? But what if they didn't have, for instance, we had to act, you asked them to role play something, but what if one of the students has information the other one doesn't have the information, or both of them have information separately? They don't know what the other one is going to answer back. And there we have an information gap. There we have tension, and we need that. Okay, we need that so we can create something that might be attractive for students, okay, and for us too, okay, because our goal, as it says, it's communication. It's the main goal of dramatic activities. And there we have our SWOT, okay? What do we want our students to be able to? Students will be able to, okay? This is the process of which meanings are exchanged between people through the use of a common set of symbols. Generally, usually it's language, Thomas says, okay? So we need to create this communication. So we need this information gap, okay? Sometimes we ask them to do pair work, okay? Or do some, or to carry out some other activities that we're going to see some examples, okay? But we need setting, topics, participants. We need the information gap. That's crucial, okay? We need them to leave the comfort zone. We need all to leave the comfort zone. That includes us, teachers, okay? But we don't need an audience, okay? We don't exactly need an audience, okay? We can do this for ourselves, for our students, for ourselves, to share, to be connected. So what else do we need? We need processes that are involved. We need mental processes, cognitive processes, negotiation of meaning, gestures, words, silences. And this is interesting. If we just give them down on silver plate, we just say, okay, role play this dialogue that you have read like a dozen times, it's just something boring, okay? But what if you ask students to act out something that they don't know much about, okay? Different processes are going to start acting, okay? They're going to be triggered off, different processes, okay? So for instance, negotiation of meaning. What if they had to talk with just using one word, okay? So, hey, hey, okay? No. Problems? Lots. Family? No. Work? Yes. You see, we have silences, we have gestures that mean a lot, okay? That mean a lot, okay? We can give them each one a little card with a couple of information there, and then they have to start in a dialogue, okay? For instance, but we're going to see some other activities, okay? So human beings are not predictable objects. That's the baseline here, okay? We are not predictable objects. We can interpret meaning in a different way, okay? Not the one that we're supposed to. So probably if some students do a gesture like this, we can take it in many different ways, okay? Is he boring? Is he tired? Okay, so gestures, words, silence is important. Okay, and it's also important to try to negotiate the meaning, because sometimes meaning or communication starts to break down in a dialogue, in a very simple activity. So we try different strategies, different gestures, different things to make that up, okay, to try to understand what the other one is saying. Okay, so dramatization also includes that. And also it's involved my inner self, my feelings, my talents, my attitudes, my fears, because as the Mr. Glue said, we are both participant and observer. We are both participant in the activity and we are observing the others. Okay, so students and we teachers are observing and participating. So we need a variety of contextualized and scaffold activities that are non-threatening and they are fun, okay? We all get nervous in our language classes. We cannot get nervous. I know we have some students are daring and they just don't care, but some others get very nervous. So we need something else to help them. So they had to be non-threatening and they had to be fun, as Peregoy and Boyle said. Okay. So it's important to create the safety net, this safety net that students need, and we also need. You see there, I chose this image, always make new mistakes. Mistakes are our way to learn. We don't learn without mistakes. So we should encourage our students to make mistakes, okay? So let's have the sandwich feedback. That is, praise the student for something they did good, then tell them what they need to improve, and then something good also, okay? Why not, okay? Or just highlight what they need correction for, but let's do it in a nice way, okay? We can do that by means of recasting, okay? Repeating something, or using visual aids or a gesture, okay? Like touching our nose, or I don't know, scratching our forehead, okay? Or we can use printed signs, okay? To say, okay, repeat, do it again. But we all, students also need, and we need, self-reflection opportunities, okay? Time to reflect upon what they have produced. If they have produced something like a dialogue, and there's some things that need to be improved, we need to give them time to self-reflect, and see how they can improve that, okay? They also need rehearsal time, okay? We need that, especially when we're talking about English as a foreign language. Some students learn English as a second language, okay? And they have the chance to speak the language outside of the classroom. But when we have English as a foreign language, we need to give them rehearsal time, okay? We need to give them some time to rehearse, some time to think about how to improve what they are doing, because it's okay, it's their foreign language, okay? Dramatization activities help them to do this a little bit faster, but they need to get trained on this too, okay? And they need new chances for improved productions, okay? It's not only one chance and that's all. We need to give them other opportunities for them to think, rehearse, and do it again, this time better, okay? So we can create that safety net that we all need. So coffee time is my time, and this time we are going into some tools, okay? Because it's time for teachers to enjoy, okay? It's not only students that will enjoy, and I hope that you will enjoy it too. It's teachers, okay? When we use dramatization, it's also time for us to enjoy. So if you don't feel comfortable, we are not obliged to do this, okay? It's another tool, okay, for us to spice up our classes. So, something important. Less is more in dramatic activities. Okay, you can see the picture here. You have the picture of the actor, Joe Manganiello, I believe that's his name. I hope that it look that good. But, you know, it's the face. You see, happy, confident, arrogant, scared. We have our face, we have our body. Okay, we don't need much more, okay? Because we need imagination and participation as key here, okay? So if we don't have costumes, we can make them with newspapers, okay? Look at those, look at that. I don't know if it's a witch or some sort of superheroine there and the cowboy there using newspaper costumes, okay? Because we need imagination and participation. So whether we are in an online context or face-to-face context, we can work with newspaper, can't we? Okay, or other kinds of paper, but we can use those little items to spark our imagination and to participate. So it's not like, okay, you don't have this, you don't participate. No, let's try to make them all participate. And you can even use those props that we get sometimes at weddings here, when you have, I don't know, glasses and mustaches and mouths and all, and I don't know, a bow tie. Okay, all those things, they're very simple. Okay, they are not expensive. Okay, we don't need to bring lots of props into these sort of activities, just a few, because we need, what's important is to shift positions, to go from where I am right now to a different position, okay? And I also need to slow down and rewind. That is, it's not like just putting kids or older students or adults into uncomfortable positions. No, we need them to slow down and to rewind and to use their body into this whole activity. Okay. So we'll see some things that are happening right now online. Okay. Because we also have this that we're working online with our students. Okay. So we have our body, we have our face. Okay. Some sources of ideas and activities that if you have downloaded the handout, you'll have them all there so you can check them out on the internet. You have some great, amazing YouTube channels by David Farmer, who has created this course. Even there's a course online that's called Making Drama Out of a Crisis. Okay, it's like playing on words, okay? Because we're in the middle of a crisis for most of us. So how do we get that into something that we can have fun with? Okay, so you have David Farmer, the Greenwich House. It's something that you have here in the middle. It's a group of teachers who work with dramatic activities. Okay, Barbican Theater, Becca Snyder, Starbuck Education. But if you want to read a book, you have drama teaching language activities in the classroom. Okay, from CUP. Okay. You have both Alan Maley and Alan Duff. I believe that those are their names and last names. They have great activities. They're not thought for online context, but we can adapt them and adopt them. Sorry, adopt them and adapt them. Okay, because it's up to you how much caffeine you want in your class. Okay, if you want to include lots of TPR, total physical response, it's up to you. It depends on our students. It depends on us. If you want to include storytelling as part of dramatization, beautiful. You decide how much, okay, of that. You decide how many dramatic or dramatization games you want to include. We'll see some, but here you have some sources. Okay, here you have some sources that you can check them out later. But check David Farmer. He's amazing. Okay, he's amazing. He's a great teacher. Okay, and he has been able to include these drama activities to transform them into dramatization activities in a language class. Okay, so some things to consider. Okay, for instance, when we have a Zoom meeting, okay, you see when you have audio only, that's the way we look. Okay, when we have a meeting with video, we look much better. Okay, I don't know, we have our haircut, and girls might wear some makeup, and well, try to get our best clothes for that. Okay, because we are using our image too with our students. Okay. Another thing to consider is the size of the screen. You'll say, okay, how big is this glass? It all depends on the perspective. Okay, and that's important too. When we're thinking of our dramatic activities nowadays, perspective is important. Okay, because I can be up here and you can see my arms, you can see my upper body, or I can be up here when you can see my mouth while I'm speaking. Okay, and we should consider that too. Okay, because this is the room that we have. When we have face-to-face classes, students will see us all of our body. Okay, but here you can only see up to here, and that's important to think of because we need to work with this. Okay, so we can ask our students to move backwards and start doing some other activities. Okay, and come out of the frame or enter the frame. Okay, so it all depends on what we want, but we should consider in our online context that we have certain perspective regarding the computer, the camera. It can change, it can move, or it can get still for the whole class. And what is important is that when we're going to use these dramatization activities, we should be standing. Okay, not only sitting. You know, when we are sitting, okay, we are limited. But I believe that's the best way we can stand up and work with our students. Okay, so we can invite our students to stand up too for some activities. Some ideas, okay? So try not to burn yourself, okay? Some activities that we should start up with. What is important is that we don't need to be actors, okay? So we don't need to be performers to work with dramatization activities, okay? And it's also important that we shouldn't burn ourselves, okay, with our coffee. It's like we shouldn't just go straight to a role play. We don't need that, okay? We should go step by step because students shouldn't feel comfortable, and we need to. So let's just see some activities for relaxation and warm up. Okay, for instance, the bubblegum bodega. Okay, this is from Greenwich House. Okay, the bubblegum bodega. Imagine that we're in the corner of the bubblegum bodega. Okay, so we are together, we are students, and we are walking by, and we say, okay, why don't we come in and we get something that we like here? Okay, so we invite our students to come into bubblegum bodega, and we can take a look at all the shelves here and all the glasses with the beautiful bubblegum. So I will pick just one up. I will pick one up, and I will try to make it visit every single tooth that we have in our mouth. So we make sure it moves around every single space in our mouth. The bubblegum bodega, we can find our favorite flower. So what's your favorite flavor? Sorry. What's your favorite flavor? Strawberry. We're trying to relax the muscles of the mouth, of the face, sorry. Okay? We're trying to do that. Okay, and that's important. It's not just going straight into an activity, but try to relax first. Okay? Stop, clap, face. We're walking in the park. We can see that some dog is walking by, that some birds are flying, and suddenly stop, clap, face. Make a face, okay? And we're trying to relax the face, okay? So we're walking again. Stop, clap, face. Okay? We can work with the perspective. We can make different faces, and that's part of relaxing and creating something that is fun. So far, language is not that into the activity, but it's going to build up into something a little bit more complex. So moving our body, okay? An activity that has to do with moving our body too, to relax our body too. For instance, what I have thought of is like, okay, I'm going to give you a present. So here you have a present. You receive it online or face-to-face a context, and you start to show what you can do with this present that you can. So what's this present? I loved it. I loved it. What is it? It's a book. Great, you guessed it, okay? And it can be so many other things, okay? It can be a broomstick. I don't know, it can be a magical wand. I don't know, it depends on us, okay? So we're starting to move our body. Language is just there, starting to appear, okay? Sounds and movement, okay? Sounds of movement. We can use living statues if we had the chance, okay, to have, for instance, in our classroom, we had the chance for students to work together. They can create words, okay, with their bodies, and that they may come up with becoming living statues, okay? For instance, to build the word peace, okay, and they can start moving their body until they form the different letters, and you have the word peace, okay? Or you can use silly voices, just the same text always. Could be roses are red, violets are blue, honey sweet, and so are you. But what if you should shout them out as if you were a soldier? Roses are red, violets are blue, honey sweet, and so are you. Okay, but what if you are depressed? You want to say that roses are red, violets are blue, honey sweet, and so are you. Okay, we're using our body, we're using the language a little bit more, but we're building up step by step so nobody gets scared. Okay, then we can move into improv and role play. Okay, what if we had a one-word dialogue, the one we did before? Okay, and you ask students to have a one-word dialogue so they can start out, hi, hey, funny, no, teacher, boring. Okay, so they start to mix up a dialogue, okay, with just one word. Okay, or if we have, I don't know, uh, students who master the language a little bit more, you can jump into a situation. Okay, you can have a dialogue, okay, between people that they know about. Okay, I don't know, they can talk about the different characters in a story. I don't know, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and suddenly jumps into a situation, the evil twin of the Prince Charming. So what kind of dialogues can start up there? Okay, we're creating the context, the setting, we have the participants, and we have information gap. What's this guy going to do in that situation? Okay. Happily ever after, is it true that it has been happily ever after? So storytelling, it's like the highest and most difficult sometimes step into dramatization techniques, because we are trying to include something that changes the story. Okay, we can have character mixing, we can have a 6 words memoir. I'm going to show you a little bit about that. Here you have something that we can work with, different levels. For instance, if we are working online, we can have a vocabulary word of the day spinner. Okay, these spinners, you just upload a list of words for the blue section, and then you can have a list of verbs for the spin activity. Okay, sorry, for the activity. Okay, for instance, you just click online and it just those spinners start to go around and suddenly they stop, and you have book falling. You have to act that out. Book falling, okay? So, and you see, and they had to guess what he's doing, because this is just for the student. The student is the only one who sees that, okay? Or you can do it with spinners on paper, like the ones that you have on the left, okay? Sorry, on the right, on the right. Okay, you can have spinners made out of cardboard where you have different words and activities, and you can just mix them up according to how they fall, okay? So you can have another thing that is there for us to use online is starters, random sentence starters, like the one that you have at the bottom to the right. It says, I went to the masquerade ball as a princess, as an actor, as a famous sport celebrity, I don't know, and you start performing, but with a language interaction there, okay? For instance, you had to introduce themselves at the masquerade, okay? So with just little props, little costumes, okay? Not spending much money on that, but we need students to prepare and to start to think how they're going to do that, and then they go into this activity. And then you have 6 words memoir that we're going to talk a little bit about that next webinar too. These are memories in just 6 words, okay? For instance, my diary is read by everyone, by Taylor Swift, okay? It seems that Taylor Swift, she takes out her diary and she starts writing her songs from that. So what if you just give that prompt to a couple of students and they need to create a dialogue from that, okay? So one could be, my diary is read by everyone. Another one would, Google, when he called me, ouch, okay? So these are just minimum words that can help a lot to create a whole story. Here we're just going to a very high level of interaction regarding dramatization, okay? We have students with a great use of language. So trying to round this up, okay, and get ready for the Q&A section. Remember, we are self-fueling, self-repairing. We can manufacture great things. We have a great learning storage capacity, a great problem-solving ability. We're continually adaptive. We're collaborative. We're also self-replicating, and we are biodegradable. We are billions of us, and some of those billions are teachers. So we can make great change, okay? And I believe that by means of dramatization, by the use of dramatization activities, we can get connected to our students, okay? Again, what if I combine my curiosity for new trends in classroom? What if I combine my curiosity for new ways to reach my students with my passion for music, dance, songs, knitting? Because when I talk about knitting, I believe that we can knit stories together, okay? To find a solution to what we are facing nowadays, okay? It's, for us, for instance, here in Argentina, it's the end of the year, but we still need to work out with our students lots of things together, okay? So thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for sharing a precious time with us here in the Teaching Capacity Building Program. Thanks to the U.S. Embassy Argentina. Thanks to Nori Serdab for having me here. ICANA for offering the support. for these webinars and the whole team of the Teaching Capacity Building Program, which is amazing. Okay, I believe that we are working and creating something that is beautiful, and that I hope that it's useful for all of us. So I believe that we have already some questions there, so we can talk a little bit about this.
Thank you, Gonzalo. Everybody is typing on the chat, thanking you for such a great presentation and for sharing such great ideas. We do have some questions. Gonzalo, Alejandro wants to know, what bibliography would you recommend for further reading? I know that you pointed out several sources. If there is anything else that you would like to add.
Well, I believe that we have to think of our context nowadays, because we have this book from Cambridge University Press that is called Drama Techniques for the language class, which I love. I have studied that book as my Bible, for instance, for my final project at university. That's a great book. But we also had David Farmer, who is a drama teacher who has been involved in language activities as a teacher of foreign language. So I believe that, well, the ones that I have shared, but especially David Farmer nowadays, because he has been able to think of our online context too and share lots of activities.
Thank you. And he also wants to know where you can look up or for warmer activities like the ones that you have mentioned.
Warm-up activities. In all the YouTube channels, especially Greenwich House, Greenwich House, there, those two teachers share lots of warm-up activities, okay? And they are beautiful. It's just like a 10-minute video, and there you can learn many activities with them. But they are beautiful, and if you just start, that's what I said about curiosity, okay? You just feel curious about this, so just plunge into Google and start looking for those activities and think how you can adapt them, okay? Because it's not like we have learned them by heart, or that we have, I don't know. What's good is that you can get many different warm activities, but we always think that we need to relax our face, we need to relax our muscles, and somehow start warming them up to something that would involve the whole body, okay? So it's great if you can do them with your students standing in the class, even though it might be an online context, okay?
Okay, thank you. And somebody's asking, what language scaffolding activities do you do to prepare students for a dramatization activity?
Well, dramatization is just part of our plan, okay? It's not like we have to do everything with dramatization, but it all depends on how we are working on that. So it's like we have to mix them all together in the plan, okay? It's one more ingredient that we can incorporate. So we can scaffold language in some part of the plan and use that scaffolding for our dramatization activity, okay? So for instance, a one-word dialogue, it's great when students don't have much language, but they can use gestures, okay? So you can invite them to interact, okay? And just tell them, okay, just use one word or a gesture, okay? So they don't feel the pressure to create a whole piece of language, sorry, a whole chunk of language, but just some words, and especially the gesture, okay? And then they will keep on building that up and use more language and more gestures if they feel that they need that. But it's always trying to keep communication going on. So it's like you can use that, I don't know, a piece of thread. So you say, okay, as long as I'm rolling this piece of thread on my finger, you have to keep the dialogue going on. So they will keep on using more language and more gestures, trying to get, if they don't have a great master of the language. But if they have a great mastery, a greater use of language, they will incorporate much more language, because you have that time that is about to finish and they need to keep on working on the dialogue together, okay?
Okay, thank you. Then what shall we do with students who lack motivation? And that often occurs with some teenagers, and it's related to another question, if you think these techniques will work with passive learners.
Well, the idea is that while inviting all to not be passive, okay, we're inviting students to know that they need something else. But if they don't see it appropriate, if they don't feel like that they need this, we cannot oblige them. We cannot make them do this. Okay, so it's always an invitation. It's always like, so we invite them to see if this works for them. Okay, and if they need to work with the language in a different way, and if they feel like they feel comfortable with this, they will probably take it up. But if they don't feel like they need it, we cannot make them. Okay, so it's always an invitation. Okay, it's always an invitation to work with the song, always an invitation to work with dramatization, always an invitation to work with a piece of text. So these are all invitations, okay, that we offer to our students. Okay.
Yes. And how can I start to use this technique if I have never done drama in classroom?
That's great. That's great. So just start reading and start thinking of how we can use these warm-up activities. You have some on the handout. You have the different YouTube channels that you can check, the book that you can check, or and there are lots of articles. Even there are a lot of short articles that all the publishing houses have. So you can download them and start reading and think, how can I use them in the classroom? Okay, because it's just using them. Okay, it's just saying, okay, today we're going to use this and try to work with that. So don't be afraid. You can find a lot of fun and a lot of rewarding experiences using this. Suddenly, you can realize that you have had that inside of you and you never done that before.
It's, as you said before, is leaving your comfort zone.
That's right.
And,
that's right.
There are people here saying that they now will start closing their virtual lessons with drama activities. So they are really thankful for sharing all these ideas. It's up to us, to try them out. And I think we will. We especially need this at this time, at least here in Argentina, when we are getting close to the closing of the academic year, and it's very hard to keep our students engaged.
That's right.
So thank you so much, Gonzalo. Everybody's really thrilled with all the ideas that you have presented. And I want to announce that Gonzalo has 2 more presentations. He will be joining us next Tuesday, following with Let's Spice Up Our Classes, Literature Alive in English Language Teaching. And then on November 10, we have Martin Villarreal with There Must Be a Better Way to Evaluate Our Students. And then November 17, From Individual Work to a Hands-on Experiential Learning Journey with Gonzalo, who will be closing our teaching capacity building program. I want to thank everybody from all over the world who have been joining us every Tuesday, sometimes on Fridays, and having a cup of coffee with us and sharing with all these presenters who are so humble and kind to share with teachers all over the world. Thank you again, Gonzalo, and we hope to see you, all of you, next Tuesday.
Yes.
And please stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.